Ka'ala Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Kadash. Double honors my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect, who are the house of David reborn again in this generation. And shalom to the 130 Yasharallah, who today are known as the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Indians, who before losing their true heritage were known as, and still are, the true Hebrew Israelites of the Holy Bible. In today's lesson, we're going to get into Psalms 4 and continue the series that I'm doing on the Psalms. Now, before I get into the Psalm, I want to talk to you about what are Psalms. Well, you see, the Bible has, has a lot of scripture that actually is in the form of songs, poems, and hymns, right? You see, back in the ancient days, the priests or the kings of Israel would actually recite psalms, for example, to their court, and then the court would then recite this to the people, and the men of Israel then would recite it back to their families. Right? This is the way that we would learn the teachings of the Bible, right? Through rhythmic learning. Right? This is why even till today, it's easier to learn things if you have a catchy song to it. Right? This is also why Satan has taken over the music industry, right? Because in music there lies a lot of power, right? Because when you control those frequencies and you put out that music, it actually does something to you, man. It actually can rise you up, it can lower you down, it can influence you, right? And this is a form of knowledge which was known by the Israelites in ancient times, right? So that's ultimately what Psalms were, and still are until today. They are a form of a song, a poem, or a hymn that you can recite, and because within them are little nuggets of information and straight up gold, right? Of the treasure trove of knowledge and wisdom that the Lord gives out. Okay? With that being said, let's go read the psalm and then we'll go through it and break it down. This is Psalms 4:1. To the chief musician on Neginoth, a psalm of David. Hear me when I call, O power of my righteousness. Thou hast enlarged me. When I was in distress, have mercy upon me and hear my prayer. O ye sons of men, how long will ye turn my glory into shame? How long will ye love vanity and seek after leasing? Salah. But know that Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai hath set apart him that is godly for himself. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai will hear when I call unto him. Stand in awe and sin not. Commune with your own heart upon your bed, and be still. Salah. For the sacrifices of righteousness, and offer the sacrifices of righteousness, and put your trust in Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. There be many that say, who will show us any good? Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, lift thou up the light of thy countenance upon us. Thou hast put gladness in my heart, more than in the time that their corn and their wine increased. I will both lay down in peace and sleep, for thou, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, only makest me dwell in safety. So that is the Psalm of King David, right? And this is ultimately talking about how the Lord is with his elect, right? And that the elect ultimately will have the Lord. Well, let's go and break this down, right? The first scripture, first line says, to the chief musician on Neginoth. Right now, Neginoth, just to let you know, is kind of like it's a term, or it's like a term for like a taunting song, right? Like this is like a diss track, right?
Strong's H 5058. Neginah. Megina.
It tells you here, music, song, taunt song, right? Taunting or mocking song. Okay, so this song was to be a song like in a mocking fashion at those who will be rejected and who are not righteous, man, who have forsaken the good things of the Lord and have seeked after the materialistic things, right? The things of this world. Right? And it says, hear me when I call, O power, my righteousness, thou hast enlarged me when I was in distress. Have mercy upon me and hear my prayer. Right? Well, that tells you there that when the Lord hears the prayer of the Israelites, right, He only hears the prayers of those who are righteous. Right? This is confirmed in John 9:31. It says, "Now we know that God heareth not sinners, but if any man be a worshipper of God and doth His will, him He heareth." Right? And that's what ultimately this is talking about, right? O power of my righteousness, thou hast enlarged me when I was in distress. Have mercy upon me and hear my prayer. Right? So you see, ultimately, David, we all know David was a man of the Lord's own heart. So David, he knew the Lord, and he did His will. Right? Hence, he could pray to remove that sin from him. Right? So continuing, verse 2, O ye sons of men, how long will ye turn my glory into shame? How long will ye love vanity and seek after leasing? Selah. Now, this word Selah here, just to let you know, is more of a musical tool, right? It was meant to kind of change up the tempo or kind of silence the song to go to the next verse. Also, it's kind of like an important like statement, like imagine like a big drum at the end, right? And if you go into the Blue Letter Bible, it tells you this.
Strong's H 5542. Sele. Sele.
It says to lift up, exalt, right? It tells you here a technical musical term, probably showing a sensation, pause, interruption, right? So this was used ultimately to kind of like put like an important pause, right, on this sentence, right? Verse 3. Oh, and Salaki. This here is ultimately talking about the 2/3 of our people, man, right? The ones who have turned the glory of the Lord into shame, man, because ultimately, man, us Israelites, we're supposed to be those that the world look upon to understand what righteousness is, right? To those who have all these gifts of music and abilities that the other heathens in the world don't have, man, right? Well, what have our people done in current times, for example? Well, they've turned those incredible ability to sing into wretched, raunchy-ass music that, is debasing to our people, man, right? So when you get into Ezekiel 33:30, it says, also thou, son of man, the children of thy people are still talking against thee by the walls and in the doors of the houses, and speak one to another, every one to his brother, saying, Come, I pray you, and hear what is the word that cometh from Yahweh Bashim El Shai. And they come unto thee, and as the people cometh, and they sit before thee as my people, and they hear thy words, but they will not do them. For with their mouth they show much love, but their heart goeth after their covetousness. And ultimately, see, that's why the 2/3 of our people, the people who are stuck in this Babylonian materialistic world that we live in here, they're stuck in vanity, man. Right? This is why they can't get right. Right? This is why the Lord has rejected them and ultimately blinded them. Verse 3. But know that Yahweh Bashem Ashai hath set apart him that is godly for himself. Yahweh Bashem Ashai will hear when I call unto him. Right? And when he talks here, when he has set the godly unto himself, he's talking about the elect right there, man, the house of David, the 144,000 elect plus and then also the 1/3 of Israel that will ultimately be saved. But primarily, this is talking about the elect, right? And this can be reiterated by Romans 11:7, that shows you that there's a difference between the elect and the rest of the Israelites, right? Because you have people out there like Nicki Minaj, who else? Cesar Chavez, Pitbull, Ice Cube, right? These are, for the most part, people see them as like, big public figures, and they think that they're good people. But ultimately, man, like the Lord's not dealing with those people, man, because one, they're not righteous. Their deeds are, even if they don't appear to be wicked, usually they're going off. They perform wicked acts in their naivety, right? But it tells you here that there's a difference between those 2/3 of our people plus versus the 1/3 and the elect. This is Romans 11:7. What then? Israel hath not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election hath obtained it, and the rest were blinded. Right? Now, when it tells you about Israel, this is talking about the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Indians, the Israelites, right? And ultimately, man, when you look at our people are always looking for the truth, right? Looking about who our ancestors were, what is really going on in the world, man. And you're gonna only the 1/3 of Israel plus the 144,000 elect are gonna actually learn it. They're going to obtain it, right? Because they are going to be given the truth by the Lord. Lord willing, I'm part of that group, right? And because I don't want to be blinded like the Lord is going to blind the rest of these 2/3, because if you're in this truth, you understand, man. You have family who just don't get it. You have friends who you can explain this till you're blue in the face, and they just will not understand. They won't get that epiphany, which makes them able to open their spiritual eyes and understand how important this truth is, right? Continuing. Stand in awe and sin not. Commune with your own heart upon your bed and be still. Salah. Offer the sacrifices of righteousness and put your trust in Yahweh Bashem Ashai. Right? And that there is ultimately talking about, man, meditating in this truth, man. Constantly thinking about it. Have it running through your mind. Live it. Read it, live it, and do it. Right? Because this is how ultimately you're going to get this knowledge, by becoming a doctor in this truth, man, by becoming a true believer, man. And the way you do that is by constantly being in the scripture, man. If you're not reading it, you should listen to it. If you're not reading or listening to it, you should be watching lessons about it, right? If you're not reading, listening, or learning lessons about it, you should be watching movies about it, and so on, man. You should be talking about it, man. Everything you should do should be to the glory of the Lord, right? This is Wisdom of Solomon 3:9. They that put their trust in him shall understand the truth, and such as be faithful in love shall abide with him. For grace and mercy is to his saints, and he hath care of his elect. Right? And like it tells you in that scripture, man. Offer the sacrifices of righteousness and put your trust in the Lord. Right? You see, when you put your trust in the Lord's going to have care over you, man. He's going to make sure that you're in good straits. He's going to make sure that you're blessed. Coming into this truth, I lost a lot. Right? I lost a lot of my worldly possessions, the people who I had, brought through my life journey. But I have gained a lot more, right? I have been blessed by the Lord, right? And in what, I have now, man. So, and that's because I trust completely in the Lord, right? Just as you should, if you're coming into this truth, understanding what the truth actually is, that the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Indians are, in fact, the people spoken about in the Bible who are referred to as the Israelites, who will be in a punished state, which will include captivity until the end of this age, until the end of this world, when the Lord returns and puts us back in the position of power and rulership which we once had. And not only that, he's going to elevate us back into our former state of being God, having God-like bodies, being those angels that fell from their first estate, right? We will judge the world and the saints, okay? It says, and continuing, let's see. It says, verse 6, there be many that say, who will show us any good? Yahweh Bashimashai, lift thou up the light of thy countenance upon us. Thou hast put gladness in my heart more than in the time that their corn and their wine increased, right? And that's ultimately what they're talking about, how kind of like what I just stated, man. Right now that it's our time to shine, right now that all the things that we've been telling people that would come to pass is now actually happening. You know, that the economy is crashing, you know, that now they've weaponized space, that they're going to eventually try to chip everybody, right? That these Caucasians are in fact the Edomites, that the Negroes, Latinos, Native Indians are the true Israelites. Like, all these things are now coming to light that, hey, that is true, right? And hey, these people who we said were crazy, hey, they were actually right? See, we are now being blessed, and because of this, right? And we're actually being persecuted too, but because of that, we are happier. We're happy because we understand that all these prophecies which we have been telling the world, that we read and found in the Bible, that those will come to pass, they're actually coming to pass, meaning that the other prophecies in the Bible will also come to pass, right? What is that? That we're going to be returned to our state of power, that we are going to get salvation, that we will rule the world and the universe for infinity, man. That is why we are happier than those who increased in their wine and their goods. So those people who sold out in this kingdom, who got their riches, who got sold out to this devil, right, to get their little bags on this side, man, they are going to be, they're not going to be as happy as we are once all this goes down, man, because we're going to receive a far better reward for doing the things that we're doing now, man, for choosing the right side, that being the side with the Lord, right? We didn't choose to party with Satan, right? Continuing. I will both lay me down in peace and sleep, for thou, Yahweh Shemashai, only maketh me dwell in safety. Right? And that's the thing, man. Because ultimately, when you come into this truth, and I'm talking about, you got to understand about the biblical truth that is taught here at Great Millstone, right? Starting with Apostle Tahar on down, right? That who are the Israelites? What is the true name of the Lord? And what's the true name of the Messiah? Right? That being Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, right? What is the mark of the beast? Who are the Edomites, right? And all that stuff, man. When you understand that truth and you start observing the laws of ancient times, which we are supposed to observe, right? But also understand that we also have grace, right? But you keep the commandments as best you can, man. You will be blessed, and the Lord will watch over you, like it tells you here in Psalms 91:10. There shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. For he shall give his angels charge over thee, to keep thee in all thy ways. Right? And that's ultimately the benefit of coming to serve the Lord, right? Is that the Lord, he already knows you, but now you'll know the Lord, right? And because of that, he'll hear your prayers. And those prayers that you now make to the Lord to remove your sin, to give you mercy, to give you blessings, those things will actually come to pass, right? As long as you believe them. And in doing so, like it tells you that the angels encamp around those that fear the Lord, right? This is why we are protected, man. This is why people who have wicked spirits on them just don't like us, man, right? But they can't do shit against us, man, because we're protected by the Lord. right? So ultimately, I just wanted to get into the song. Hopefully, you enjoyed this breakdown, Akim. So until the next time, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushai, Bashem, Hapadash. Don't honors my teachers, the apostles and elders of the Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect. Shalom.